Alright, so if you're watching this video, welcome to my channel. This is the Ascension of Babylon. We talk about the occult sciences, we talk about spiritual self-development, we talk about self-development in general, in harmony with the healing process. And what we're going to be talking about today is the big shift that I'm sure all of you can see, and to those of you that are more psychically receptive, you can feel it. It's almost like something's going to pop. It's almost like something is about to burst and birth too. But sometimes for something to be birthed, there has to be a burst. And some of you might be feeling as if something is going to take place. You might feel it in your relationships, feel it in your home life, feel it in your work life, and just kind of, you're probably kind of tuning into the energies of the collective. Something is shifting, but what is it? Well, we're experiencing the apocalypse phase of our evolution. So when we look at things like the book of Revelations, this is based on certain astrological events that reflect this deeper resurfacing of the mass collective unconscious so it can process those shadow aspects and begin moving into a different timeline in each and every person that's experiencing this apocalypse phase. So every single one of us is getting the opportunity to let go of what they're attached to, let go of the illusions, let go of the unhealthy relationships, and let go of anything that is not in harmony with us as a collective moving into this timeline. And this isn't something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens in a year. It's something that has been taking place and is going to progressively unfold in different waves. And what you're probably experiencing and feeling over the last couple of days is a major wave of what we can call this apocalypse energy. An apocalypse is a burning away of the illusions. It's a burning away of the false systems. It's a burning away of the false identity that so many human beings are identified with as being them, when in reality, it is not. So if you're feeling this shift, there's nothing to be afraid of. This is a beautiful thing, but there may certainly be some chaos. There may be some conflict, and there may be some upheaval that you see taking place within the collective in the form of global events. And there even may be some upheaval in your life that is designed to help you release those illusions and those attachments that you may be over identified with. And on a conscious self level, you may not be willing to let go of. Now, if you are, and you've been doing the inner work, then you're probably going to have a much smoother time than the average person who's just very attached to illusions. But regardless, this could potentially be a difficult time for all of us, in different ways. So the apocalypse is all about becoming conscious of the unconscious, meaning there's going to be a resurfacing of these unconscious aspects of our psyche that are oftentimes holding or carrying the burden of past trauma. And this stuff can get so deep that it's not only, trauma from our direct experience and things that we've been through, but intergenerational trauma that's been passed on to us through our family line that needs to be healed, that needs to be released from our energetic field, and even trauma potentially from past life incarnations, different timeline incarnations where we are actually existing just timelines that are parallel to the present moment timeline, where you are perceiving yourself as you and I am perceiving myself as Zachary, because time is not linear like most people perceive it. What timelines are is past and future all running in harmony, or I believe the word would be concurrently with the present moment, meaning everything is actually existing in the present, just different frequential realities that a lot of the time we're not really knowing are existing in the present because we have this linear perception of time. So what I'm saying is there are other versions of yourself that are having experiences, and oftentimes there's going to be trauma in association with those parallel incarnations that you are experiencing. So some of what you may be feeling could actually be designed to help you process trauma that's in association with those parallel versions of yourself. And this stuff can get really deep, but it's not my intention to go too deeply, into what I was just conveying now, because let me say it like this, it's your present moment right now that's really most important, and anything that you need to experience, you don't need to overly logically understand. You need to just intuitively process by being present with the different emotions that you're going to be feeling. And those emotions are actually energies in motion inside of you. So, in other words, just let it flow. And whatever comes up is going to come up naturally. You don't need to over analyze it. You don't need to have the most knowledge about it. You just need to be in tune with yourself and allow these energies to flow naturally and allow these energies to flow organically. Because an apocalypse is when we're experiencing all of these different suppressed energies that, a lot of us for a majority of our lives have been running away from. We've created identities, belief systems, relationships, external realities, our job, whatever it is, we've used it as a tool of running away from what's going on inside. So this is a time when that natural flow state begins to become active by this emotional resurfacing taking place within our system. And a lot of the time, this is going to be emotions in association with unhealed trauma. So the heavier emotions are in association with trauma that is very active and unhealed within your system. And by feeling through these emotions, you'll be able to release that trapped energy and therefore release the trauma from your system so you can begin shifting into the new paradigm, shifting into the more authentic version of you, shifting into the new self. But you're going to have to leave the things that are, basically in association with the old self. And this is why when we look at Revelations, there's a lot of death symbolism that we see, because dying is always going to have to do with something being transferred from one state to another. And for this transference to take place properly, we have to be able to let go. So there's going to be certain relationships, unhealthy coping, identities, perspectives, ways of thinking, certain things we identify with, things in our physical reality, whatever it is that's associated with the more so, we could say, the false self, as I like to call it. Sometimes we're going to be called to let go of those things. And to people that don't want to let go of these things, there's going to be, more of a pressurization that's put on these types of people. And you can think of it as the universe saying, hey, we need you to let go of that relationship. We need you to let go of, I don't know, your codependency. You're always giving yourself away. Or maybe it's the other end of the spectrum. Maybe you're more in the spectrum of narcissism and you need to let that go because that's rooted in unhealed trauma. And it's, basically creating these narcissistic qualities in you. Whatever it is, there's going to be a pressurization put on those things. And this is a very healthy thing for the collective so it can begin to step into the new self. So going back to waves, there's different waves of this apocalypse energy that come into manifestation. And I absolutely believe that a significant wave is beginning to surface. A significant wave is beginning to manifest and is absolutely on its way. So, what can you potentially expect with this wave of apocalyptic energy that a lot of you may be sensing, and that I'm certainly seeing the signs, symbols, and synchronicities of in my life, as well as in the world in general? Well, there could be conflict. This could be on a personal level in your life, and as well on a global level, meaning, certain catalysts that manifest within the collective. There could potentially, not saying there will be right now, but there could potentially be weather disasters, as within, so without, meaning our inner process will be reflected back to us in the world. So this means the weather can be a part of that, as well as we're kind of going through this internal shift and we're experiencing the inner storm. The outer storm can absolutely, manifest, if that makes sense. um to give you an idea of like what this apocalypse energy is associated with, COVID-19 was, a major part of the apocalypse phase for 100% sure. So, not saying that that's going to manifest again, but things like that can absolutely manifest for sure. And just in general, there could be a lot of chaos and a lot of upheaval that you see in the world. And the reason why this is because it's always chaos that sets the stage for a new order to come about. We can even call it a new world order, and that chaos energy kind of collapses the system of old, so we can move into a new system and a new structure and a new order. This means the government, is going to at some point operate a little bit differently, and we're already seeing these major changes. And this means each and every individual within the collective consciousness that makes it up is going to begin operating a little differently as well. There's going to be more fluidity. There's going to be more authenticity within the collective, because right now, as it's currently taking place, there are a lot of people that are very identified with protective adaptations, very identified with masks, very identified with perceptions that are not necessarily the healthiest. So there needs to be a catalyst, there needs to be chaos to give the average person that's very attached to those things the opportunity to actually go through a deeper processing and to step back so they can step out of the old self and into the new self. So once again, this is happening on a collective level. We're going to see shifts in the whole world. And we've already been seeing shifts, but what I'm saying is this is a major phase, a major wave of this energy that I'm feeling. So this is going to happen globally, and it's also going to happen to different degrees depending on you as a person and your psychological makeup. It's going to happen on a personal level for every single one of us, and this is a beautiful time to exist in. So essentially, this is kind of what I wanted to share. If you're feeling the shift, don't be afraid of it. Absolutely embrace it. If you start kind of experiencing a pattern interruption within your relationships, at work, wherever it is, just within your internal system, certain emotions start coming up, maybe certain thoughts start coming up, things of that nature, allow it to flow. No, everything that you experience is meant to serve you. Try to be as present with your emotions as you possibly can. And if you see things start leaving your life, allow those things to leave. You do not need to hang on to them. And, the things that we could say this death energy current is going to take away, and the only thing that death energy ever takes away is things that no longer serve our evolutionary process. So if it's leaving your life, even if it served you once upon a time, it's not meant to go with you, into the new timeline that we're shifting into. So that's what I wanted to say. Just a real quick video. I'm feeling the shift. I'm sure a lot of you are. And yeah, this is a wonderful time to exist in, but it can also be a little scary. And in fact, it's actually designed to help us process some of those fears that, are stored in the unconscious, that are aspects of the psychological shadow. So either way, wonderful time, and thank you for being here.